And then it turns lovely shades of like yellow and green.
Oh, and then, yeah, when it starts to fade, it looks worse.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Big Bear Fire Authority, December 9, 2025 at 5 p.m. Could we please have a stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and have a moment of silence first?
If you join with me in pledge allegiance to our great country and our flag, if you're a veteran, please feel free to salute. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you have roll call, please?
Director Harris?
Here.
Director Hicks?
Here.
Director Melnick?
Here.
Director Putz?
Here.
Director Bob Rowe?
Here.
Director Joe Rowe?
Here.
Director Russo?
Here.
Director Walsh?
Here.
Director Ziegler is absent. And Chair Sabinovic.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, announcements and upcoming events. The Fire Authority's administrative office will be closed Wednesday and Thursday, December 24 and 25, 2025 in observance of Christmas, and will reopen Monday, December 29th, 2025 at 8 a.m. Wednesday and Thursday, December 31 and January 1, 2026 in observance of New Year's Day, and will reopen Monday, January 5, 2026 at 8 a.m. Great. Directors' general announcements. Are there any directors that? No? Okay. General public comment. Members of the public who wish to comment on topics not included on the agenda or comment on agendized topics are invited to provide comments. Please note that the state law prohibits the authority from taking action on items not listed on the agenda. There is a 3-minute maximum time limit when addressing the board. This time limit may be shortened by the chair to accommodate a large number of speakers. Dan Gilbranson.
Glad to be here. Couple things. This is why California and Minnesota, just to name a few of the states that are either already in trouble or California is going to be in big trouble, just came out in the newspaper, volunteers looking for down in the washes, looking for poor people so they can bribe them with money and put them on the list. It's nonsense. These people love it where they live in the riverbeds or wherever, and all the county and the city wants is more money. And this is going to end. And this just came out this last week. Another one is this general plan. I'm one of the few that have read every page. It was 80 pages of this general plan, municipal code update. It's a pile of garbage. It's 1.7 million, which would be plenty of money to share with the fire department instead of putting it on this dog poop. I went through every page of it. It is nothing but far leftist, liberal crap. It's all, the whole thing. And you can find out for yourself by just reading it, which most of you didn't from our city. It has nothing but environmental justice, bull, environmental economics and policy, climate change. And to get grant funding, there's the key word. If you're far leftist liberal, the state of California has money for you. And it's our money, and I don't want it to far leftist liberals. I will be fighting that, what is it, CPAC? I'm going to be on it. I'm not only going to be 100% against it, I'm going to be 1,000% behind it. It's all DEI, leftist, shoving down our throat and shoving it into this state. And it's not city. And it's this is not just citywide, it's area-wide. And it's every word out of this packet from these 5 clowns is all Sacramento far leftist liberalism. $1.7 million for this crap because of state mandate? Tell me what the state mandates are. Well, I got them listed. And you know what? All you need is AI. Just like the phone has gotten rid of books, magazines, everything, AI is doing the same thing. So if you people need to read it and not just get part of the hooking up to the money wagon, because that's a lot of this is money wagon to get grants, liberal grants, millions of dollars like the school district did, $3 million. All DEI crap. So I will be fighting this like you can't believe. And I think it got ramrodded through. So I'm going to be working on that too. I got 1 minute. Oh no, 1 second.
Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Thanks for cleaning it up.
It wasn't easy. Oh, everybody watch Big Bear Television, the round table. It's going to be very good, even with Ted Treadman.
Okay, I believe we do not have any more public comment. All right, let's move on to the,
Can I talk?
sure.
I didn't know it was gonna come so quickly. Thank you. My name is Patty Bird, and first of all, generally when I come to a fire board meeting, it's much better attended and we're in the bays. So if I was supposed to enter through that door, I didn't know it. But I tried to get in this door and it was locked. And I knocked and no one answered. And there's a sign on there saying, you should enter down through the bays. So I go out to the gate and it's locked. How dare you prohibit public access? Fortunately, somebody was coming through and they opened up the gate and I go in there and again, another locked door. It's a very secure facility, but when there's a public meeting being held, there should be better signage and access. However, I'm here for our fire department and I'm so sorry that some of you are not, especially when you are people in authority. The city of Big Bear Lake has many more funding opportunities than Big Bear City does. And not only as a city, but as a city, because of your high commercial, our high commercial, there are a lot of funding areas that you can get. And as was just mentioned about grants, there's a lot out there. And we need to be there for our firemen and we need to be working together to make it work. Please consider that. Thank you.
Excellent.
Let's move on to the chief's report. Chief Wagner.
At the November 5th meeting, board asked to know how many homes within the authority's jurisdiction, apologies for the typo, had wood shake shingle roofs. There's currently 10 in our valley. The number seems pretty low, 8 total out in the CSD, 2 in the city. It's only considered for the residential structures, does not take into consideration sheds, barns, etc., outbuildings. The number is so low because after the old fire, there was grant funding opportunity for wood shake shingle replacement that went through, and it was pretty much along the entire mountain rim from Wrightwood all the way down to Angeles Oaks. A few thousand homes had their roofs replaced based on that. That took out a big chunk of them. Following that, insurance companies stepped in and said, these roofs are high hazards. If you'd like to maintain your insurance, please replace your roof. That took out another chunk. And then through our AB 38, which is our defensible space inspections required on the sale of all homes within the first year after the sell date. The homes are required to have a passing notice from the fire department, and we do not pass them because we do not allow wood shake shingle roofs. Any of the homes that have remained since then, a notice of pendency was placed on those remaining properties with the county of San Bernardino for the CSD and along with the city. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you.
Chief, I thought back in 2010 that people had until 2015 or a 5-year window when they had to replace those wood shingles. Was there some leeway given such that that was not a mandatory requirement, or what happened?
I'm sure that there was some leeway just because there were so many that needed to be replaced at the time, for one. It's not cheap to replace a roof. That's another one. And I'm sure if they were going to enforce it as a mandate, they would allow some lead time for that. With some of the properties that we have currently, they've been abandoned. And so that's why some of them exist without the roofs being replaced. I mean, we've identified those as well as, hazards, because they've just kind of been left uncared for. And there's a lot more problems that exist on those properties aside from the roof. But I would imagine that there was some leeway given. What that was, I don't know the exact details.
The properties that you say are abandoned with these wood shingles on them, are they in areas that would be a high fire risk for us? I mean, if they're out in the middle of Baldwin Lake or that area there, it's not as big a concern, let's say, as it would be if it's in the middle of Sugarloaf someplace. So are they in relatively safe areas, or what are they?
You look at it two ways. I mean, our valley is considered a very high fire hazard severity zone, of course. The one that really stood out to me, it's got a hole in the roof and it's clearly been abandoned for a long time. I don't know exactly where that is, but it's got a pretty large lot and it's surrounded by mostly grass. Though grass can burn pretty good, it doesn't produce a long-term hazard in terms of the heat release. I haven't seen all of them that still exist up here. So I'll get back to you on that and just see where we're at on that as far as what hazards truly exist around those properties.
I appreciate that because, I mean, if there are some options that we have as an authority or CSD or Big Bear Lake to do something about those properties. I know over in Big Bear Lake, we had that one property that burnt down and we were finally able, after years and years and years of having it torn down just because of the hazard it presented to the public. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll get that to you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, moving on. We do not have a finance officer's report. Moving on to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion at the appropriate time. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If a detailed discussion is necessary, any governing board member may request that an item be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. All right, does any board member wish to remove any item from the consent calendar? Okay, seeing none, could I have a motion and a second?
Move to approve. I'll second.
Okay. And roll call, please.
Director Ziegler, Director Herrick,
Yes.
Director Hicks,
Aye.
Director Melnick,
Aye.
Director Putz,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bob Rowe,
Aye.
Director Joe Rowe,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Director Walsh,
Aye.
Board Chair Segovia.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, moving on to our public hearing, item number FA4. Any person can be heard in support or opposition to the proposals at the time of the meeting. If you challenge that, I'm not going to read the rest of that. Anyway, does anybody have any public comment on that, FA4?
I've received no requests.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to read the item. FA4, public hearing of proposed ordinance number BBFA 2025-001, adoption of the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code and the 2025 edition of the California Residential Code with changes, amendments, additions, deletions, and exceptions. All right, Chief Wagner.
November 5th, 2025, just last month, our previous meeting conducted the first reading and introduction of the ordinance to adopt the 2025 California Fire Code with the amendments, changes, deletions, exceptions. We had posted that November 13th and November 20th in compliance with Government Code Section 6066. And we're now at the second reading. Delivered copies of that to the county and the city for their comments, and we've received none at this time. At this point, staff recommends the Fire Authority Board conduct a public hearing, waive the second reading, and adopt the attached ordinance number BBFA 2025-001. The lengthy title as follows. I'll save us the second reading of that, along with directing the fire chief to present and adopt the ordinance to the San Diego County Fire Protection District Board of Directors, City of Big Bear Lake, for ratification, and I'll direct our interim board secretary, upon ratification, file findings with the board governing agencies.
Thank you. Does anybody here on the board, questions, discussion? Director Walsh?
A while back, I mentioned that there was some movement out of Sacramento to eliminate double stairwells, that they figured they could create more rooms and more residences by only having one stairwell to a floor, to a building. Has that reached us yet?
I have not seen it. It was definitely a conversation that we had at Development Review Committee at the city. I think that was early summer. And that was a point of concern for the building officials with the city as well. But I have not seen that across my desk just yet, because there's a lot of concern with that.
You also mentioned the abandoned building with lots of grass around it. Out on Sandalwood, all the property from the gas company on out to the high water mark. When I questioned why we have acres and acres of flashy burnable material, your predecessor said it's because they can't remove that in protecting the checker bloom and the bladderwort and all those really important plants. Since all of those have a season, they grow, bloom, set seeds, die. It would seem that once they've done that, can't that be cut down? It seems like it's a big fire hazard for all that exposed acreage with nice burnable grass.
I dealt with that property last year as the assistant chief and fire marshal, and along with the previous fire chief, I'd never seen a report that stated that they had any protected species of plants or wildlife on those lots. It was basically just the size of the property itself and the financial burden that would place on the owner at the time to have to go through and mow down the acreage that they have. What we'd come to the agreement on was to take 30 feet around the perimeter of the entire property and clear that down. And that was the option that we went forward with last year.
So that's probably for the future.
For now, if the board so chooses me to take a firmer stance, I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, and as the code has evolved, we went from no firewood within 20 feet of the building, then it was 10 feet of the building because so many lots only had 25 feet and nowhere to put their lumber. Then it was changed to, oh, it's okay, you can stack your firewood right up against the building as long as you put a fireproof tarp over it. I'm not finding fireproof tarps may be resistant. And I'm seeing people, they'll stack the whole side of the garage right up to the eaves because the building is serving as their shelter from the wind side. The overhang is serving as the rain guard, but there it sits with no tarps at all, whether fire resistant, fireproof, whatever. Do you see a change modifying that once again? At one point, we even had a lady recommend that you store your firewood in your garage, which seemed to invite disaster, but what do I know?
There were some changes, so we did limit the amount of firewood that people could have on their property because people that did have the land seemed to like to put large amounts, far more than 5 cords of wood. And it was just kind of thrown in a pile because it's typically what you do when you're splitting wood. So we limited it down to 5 total on the property, placed appropriately away from the structure if possible, covered appropriately either with a tarp or some sort of a structured building or around it. We allow up to a cord within 10 feet of the structure based on the size of the property and the ability of the residents to be able to handle that wood. We can't catch them all, unfortunately. But, again, it gets cold up here. We're not trying to make things too impossible for people. We just hope that they do their best to keep themselves and the neighbors safe with how they take care of their wood piles. We didn't do too many other changes with that this year. Again, if there's something that is of concern, then anybody can call and do a concerned citizen report and we'll go out and take it.
Are we going to use this as the enforcement to go to your zone 0?
I'm waiting for direction from the state on that one. That one's going to be a hot button item, as I'm sure you would understand. I need to see what they're going to go with on the state first on that one. Again, what they had said originally, and this was, I believe, March, April, May, somewhere in there, was to look at enforcement of zone 0 around all new construction initially. And then there would be a time period, as there was with shake shingle, to bring everybody else into compliance, because we've spent decades putting decorative plants and vegetation and mulch and everything else around our homes to go in and just say simply, you have to remove it or else. I think it's not going to go too well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? No? All right, I'm going to open the public hearing portion of the meeting. Are there any public comments?
I've received no requests.
Okay, I'm going to close public comment. And do I have a motion and a second to adopt the
I'll make a
ordinance?
motion.
Second. Title need to be read.
Didn't you read the title?
Yeah, I read the title at the beginning.
So, I don't know how to do that.
Could we ask to see if Nick Nobel, our attorney, can speak or not?
Oh. Nick, can you speak?
I can. I was just going to, in case there was a follow-up question regarding the single stair, I was going to provide more information.
Oh, okay.
The single stair legislation that passed a couple years ago, it just directed the state fire marshal to research the issue and to provide findings and information to certain legislative and governmental agencies in Sacramento by January 1st of next year, just in a few weeks. So that's all that's happening statewide on that for now.
Okay, all right. So we had a motion and a second. Right? Yep. Perry and,
I'm sorry, I missed the motion.
okay, so
Yes.
it was Perry
Perry.
and Chuck.
Okay, thank you.
And can I have roll call, please?
Okay, Director Walsh,
Aye.
Director Ziegler, Director Herrick,
Yes.
Director Hicks,
Aye.
Director Melnick,
Aye.
Director Putz,
Aye.
Vice Chair Bob Rowe,
Aye.
Director Joe Rowe,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Board Chair Segovia.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just sort of, we don't need these for people at home to be able to hear. These are only for Al, right?
Only for Al.
I just want to make sure that I'm
Correct.
just, I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't making it so people at home couldn't hear. Thank you, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Okay, moving on to new business. FA5, use of facilities agreement for the Paradise Training Center.
Okay, so at the May 13th regular board meeting, directors authorized the board chair to sign a 6-month temporary use of facility agreement. And the request was that staff update the verbiage to be more specific to the authority's responsibility only while we were on the property. And for the authority also to look into agreements regarding use of other facilities. Proposed agreement allows the authority to continue using Paradise Yard, which is our training center, for a period of 12 months under the terms described in the agreement, which is attached. Consistent with the board's prior direction, the agreement provides that the authority is responsible for security and supervision only during scheduled authority events. Staff recommends the Fire Authority Board authorize the board chair to sign the proposed 12-month use of facility agreement to continue use of Paradise Training Center on CSD property. And again, attached is the agreement for your review.
All right. Any questions on that?
Chief, is there any consideration for reciprocation regarding, I mean, it's a good idea, but also this building might need the same type of agreement since we're exposed here as well?
I'd probably direct that to legal, just for their expert opinion on that. We could do that if you'd like, but I think up to this point, the department has handled injuries and et cetera on all our facilities, our fire stations being the main. I'd take direction from the board on that if you'd like to pursue those.
I think I would like to pursue it. I think it makes sense. Once I read the agreement, I thought, well, there's other exposures that we have, and we have one with this building with the fire district as well. So I would be in support of moving forward with a reciprocative type of agreement.
Any other?
Well, I guess, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
Right, I guess then, Rick, the facilities over in Sugarloaf and on Big Bear Boulevard on the east side, who owns those properties then?
Well, actually, my thought is more of we have our meetings here, more of the public comes in this location as well. And it just seems like this is more exposed than the other locations, but, you know, maybe we need an agreement for all the locations. Maybe that makes sense.
I mean, because the public doesn't have access to the Paradise training, it's just that while we're using, it's just our fire personnel here, so I would think the same kind of exposure would be in those other stations as well. Again, the concern being members of the fire department injuring themselves and turning around and suing either CSD or district for something that was lacking in the facilities. So it might be something worth considering for, I guess, all the structures that we have if it's a concern for this structure.
I think it makes sense.
Maybe Nick can tell us something too.
Well, let's let Perry, I think Perry wanted to.
Yeah, I just have a couple of cleanup things. It's sloppy. In section 5, security and supervision, it says the fire department, which isn't defined. It should be the Big Bear Fire Authority or user is responsible for the following only during scheduled, it should say user events. It shouldn't say that the fire department is responsible for the following only during scheduled events, because that makes it seem like we're responsible during every event on the facility. So it needs to be clarified that it's only during events that the fire authority is using it. And what does greater diligence on security outside of regular CSD operation hours mean?
Referring to if we have a training evolution, a night drill, that we just monitor entrance and exit into that facility with a little greater diligence as there's nobody else around to keep.
Oh, so while you're using it, if you're using it outside of their normal hours, then we have to have greater diligence because it's outside of their normal hours. Okay,
Correct.
Thank you. So if we could just have those corrections made, and Nick, if I don't know if you put this together, if you could just go through and make sure that terms that are used as defined terms are actually defined.
Yeah, did you work on this, Nick?
I reviewed it for the authority, but those edits are well taken. I'm happy to make those changes, and I don't see an issue from the other party.
All right, so are you making a motion that we would?
Well, yeah, I mean, but the motion I'd like to make is actually if we could get all of them put together at the same time as opposed to piecemeal this together. I think would make a lot of sense. Because there's other portions in here that maybe apply to us as well that we should look into, like no lease or tenancy paragraph that's in there. So my motion is that we delay making a decision on this tonight until we have agreements for all the properties that we mentioned.
I'll second it only so I can ask a question, because when does the current 6 months expire? Because if we hold off, what does that do to your ability to use this space as you need it? That's my concern.
I'd have to look at the previous agreement. It was 6 months, and I don't know if that started June 1st or July. Nick, do you have that?
I can find it in just 1 second, pulling up the May information.
And just to further answer your question, if we can't train in Paradise, we can train in our properties as well. It just changes up the evolutions a little bit, but it doesn't stall what we're trying to do.
Well, can I offer maybe a possible amendment solution to this, that we approve with the changes recommended by Perry to the existing agreement with Paradise, and that we go forward with the agreements on the other facilities so as not to delay this in case our folks are needed for training.
I would accept that amendment to my motion.
Is that okay with you, Greg?
I'll second.
Okay.
Randy.
Oh, I didn't see you. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It was in my banner.
A question occurred to me for Nick, or maybe someone can help me understand. As I recall, historically, we didn't have an agreement for the Paradise Yard, and someone somewhere thought that that would be a good idea. And I'm trying to follow what the purpose of that is, because if it's to protect CSD from fire authority actions, because there's some kind of inferred liability there, wouldn't that apply then to like Station 282, which CSD owns, I guess, and the JPA uses? Wouldn't that apply to your point here? And I'm having a hard time understanding. I mean, I guess we're gonna correct that with this amendment, but I guess my question, Nick, is what are we trying to protect ourselves against if we create all these agreements and indemnity clauses and, you know, all of this stuff, if it's the two entities and the JPA that are using everything, and the two entities have an interest in the JPA? Why is this all necessary?
In general, the purpose would be to provide greater clarity and some exactness with regard to potential liabilities that could arise. It also provides, an agreement like this also provides clear understanding between the parties on what in particular the facility is being used for, what the user can and cannot do. I'm not certain of the full history and the background on this, and I'm happy to work with the chief online and based on direction from the board on what the situation is with the various properties and whether additional arrangements might be appropriate. What I suspect is that this was perhaps driven by a request of the CSD to provide greater clarity, including on the liability issues, but it may be something that's worthwhile in pinning down for the other properties as well.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Director Walsh wanted to say something.
Shula Property Owners provides you with an insurance certificate to use that facility, correct?
I'm sorry?
Shula Property Owners, when they meet at 283,
Yes.
they have to provide a policy.
Yes.
I think the distinction has been that 282, 283, 284, 5, 281, those are all understood to be fire department facilities. The Paradise Yard isn't part of the fire department. They're using the property, but to get to it, you're driving through our storage areas where the equipment at night. I've seen people come up for specialized training and they bomb through that like there's nobody around and they're just allowed to be. So the concern was, are we being covered in the event somebody hurts themselves or somebody else at that facility? That's all.
Okay, I'm not seeing the distinction between that, the liability, and all the other facilities that we use of. So, but maybe that'll get hashed out in your motion.
I think these facilities are contemplated in the JPA as sort of fire authority use facilities, and were intended to be part of the use by the fire authority, whereas the Paradise lot is clearly not an asset to be used solely by the fire authority. It is a CSD asset that we sometimes have the benefit of using for training. So that's, I think, where the distinction comes, but I don't have a copy of the JPA in front of me. But I think it contemplates, if I'm recalling slightly correctly, different use of different types of assets. And that's the Paradise lot is clearly not a fire asset.
Except the training takes place there and has for 30 years. So it is not designated that way as part of the JPA. I understand that.
But is it used for other things as well, it sounds like? The Paradise lot is not
training
just
center.
Is it just used as a training center?
You've also got some county and Red Cross maybe storage on it, and some of the equipment from the fires being stored on it. So it's gone beyond just being a training facility. And like I said, it's surrounded by our water, sewer, and trash equipment. And so there was concern about what happens if somebody takes out a vehicle or a vehicle takes out somebody?
No, I understand all that. I just think that if it's in the JPA, then it's very clear that the JPA takes responsibility for anything that takes place in this property and that the property owners are not responsible for what happens here. I feel more comfortable, but because I didn't even think of it until I read the agreement and thought, well, it's a good idea, but we should protect. And I obviously thought of fire district's property being this building, being a very expensive building. But we protect ourselves as well. So I would hope we do it all at once so that we don't have to get in a discussion back and forth again regarding this. It's all very clear, and then it makes it relatively simple. That's why I'm hoping that we do it at once as opposed to piecemeal it together. It sounds like we have time, 6 months. Is that correct? Did I hear that right?
For the previous agreement,
Yeah.
we had 6 months at that time.
So it could potentially be up in December, right?
It
Again,
may have
we'd have to-
actually, I haven't seen the execution version, but the version that was in the board packet in May, I don't know exactly when it was executed, but it was dated as of May 19th. And if it was executed as of that date, then it would have expired in November.
I think so we still go forward with.
Okay, so we do have a deadline.
Yes, we can go forward with the way the motion is, and maybe if nothing else, have Nick come back to us and let us know what the liability issues may be for the other facilities, and then we can decide from there.
But the work's done on this one.
Yes, the
Well,
work's
I don't
done.
know if I would use this as the model, but
I agree.
Yeah. there's
Understood.
issues to cover.
So so is there any public comment? I'll go to that.
I
No?
received no requests.
What's that?
I received no requests.
And I don't see anybody waving their hand. Okay, so where are we at with it then? Is this one not going to be executed, or does it need to be cleaned up first, or?
so we had a motion and a second,
Right.
and
Some
then
cleanup
something,
language.
which is that we're going to execute this one with the cleanups
Okay,
and move forward expeditiously with looking at reviewing and getting agreements in place if necessary for the other locations,
Yes.
but not
So-
to hold this one up.
so Nick will do the cleanup and then the new board chair will sign it, correct?
Correct. And then Nick will review the agreement and give us a recommendation. as
Okay, you
far
got that,
as
Nick?
liability exposure.
Okay, all right, then could I have roll call, please?
Director Russo,
Aye.
Director Walsh,
Aye.
Director Ziegler, Director Herrick.
Aye.
Director Hicks.
Aye.
Director Milnick,
Aye.
Director Putz.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bob Rowe,
Aye.
Director Jay Rowe,
Aye.
and Board Chair Segovia.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to FA6, amendment to fiscal year 2025-2026 Big Bear Fire Authority budget. And this is initiated by the CSD on behalf of, by Director Russo on behalf of the CSD. The letter was included in your packet. So discussion?
I'd like to propose an amendment to the budget. Considering its decision of the Fire Protection District to withhold funds that has been provided in the past, we understand the Fire Protection District, by this action, agrees that the budget should be amended to reflect the reduction in contributions by the Fire Protection District. While we were waiting for the outcome of what we hoped would be fair and equitable cost-benefit allocation studies, and thought we had agreed to maintain the status quo on funding, it appears the Fire Protection District has grown impatient with the process of the two parties that we agreed upon. So I wish to put forward a motion to amend the 25-26 fiscal budget to cap the revenue of the property tax collection to 12.2 million, with each party contributing 6.1. This then reflects the 50-50 financial contributions to the revenue for the collection of the property taxes.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
So
Discussion?
how, what are you gonna suggest cutting? I mean, that's my question. But the general comment that I'll make is that we're not holding any money back. It looks like it'll be fourth quarter when there might be trouble, but it gives us time to actually work out all these details that we have to work on right now and still maintain what we had agreed to do, which was to follow the agreement at 50-50. So no money is being withheld. The full amount, which has been invoiced, is being paid and will continue to be paid. But we will have a deadline that we'll have to resolve. It'll be fourth quarter next summer by the time we really have to dig in and figure out what the heck is going on. But so I just think it's a misstatement to say that we're withholding money. At this point, there's no money that's being withheld. Everything is being supplied.
Any other discussion? Larry?
Can a copy of that go to the secretary so that she doesn't have to write it from memory? Or do you already have a copy of the statement he just read?
Oh, it's being recorded.
Okay,
So
that's
we'll
good
have
enough. You don't want it in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd have to agree with Rick. I think this is premature. I think we have a lot to take care of between now and next summer. I mean, we're still looking at getting our responses back from the 2 audits that we essentially have going on right now. And I think once we have those done and confirmed, we can figure out better where we are. But we are funding the fire authority fully as of this point, and we'll continue to. Again, once we get to next summer, we'll have to figure out where we are. So I can't support any motion to amend the budget at this point.
Couple questions. If our fiscal year ends June 30th, July 1st, whatever the date is, wouldn't we have to address stuff in the fourth quarter, which actually would be spring, right?
I don't have the exact date.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
that's
but I
correct.
want to clarify
Yes,
that.
it's
probably
before we
be-
get to budget time again,
Okay,
next year,
okay,
or about that time.
okay. So in the next 6 months, we would need to resolve that one way or another.
I hope so.
Okay. And then a question for the chief. Have you yet, based on funding and the approved budget and all the issues we went through to even get the approved budget, have you experienced any impact financially? Or maybe this is a question for Kristen, because I know there was missed email and, invoicing issues and, a bunch of stuff that happened. But has the fire authority to date been impacted by any lack of funding?
I'll defer to Kristen. Yeah, she's there.
At this point, yes, we did have to use that $3 million. We've used half of it, so we have about $500,000 left. So basically, the impact has just been a cash flow crunch due to the timing of payments coming in. So we will be sufficient for one more payroll, and following that, if no funds come in, we will have a situation where we are short. So that's been the impact, is essentially just cash flow, because normally we would have cash by this point in time.
Okay, and so the invoicing that you've done and whatever payment progress has been communicated, do you anticipate that we will be okay? And
Absolutely. As soon as I get that first check, we'll be solid for several months.
okay, and has an expectation been made to you when you'll get that check? Have you been told, like, we're going to pay you by the state?
I have not.
Okay.
The word came through that after and pending adoption at tomorrow's FPD meeting, that we should expect payment within some time period after following that. Was the message that was broadcasted by the FPD.
And the JPA does say that you have 30 days from the dated invoice.
But again, I have to go back to what I said at the last meeting. This is no different than what has been going on for years. We get payment, the taxes are deposited essentially at the end of November, 1st of December of every year. So this is not different. I mean, it's not like we avoided making any payments. Because again, when does the tax dollars come in? They come in at the end of the month. And traditionally, that's when the fire authority has received the money. Unless I'm mistaken, that's when they traditionally receive the money, at the end of the month, based on the tax coming into the district. And in the past, it was direct pass-through to the authority, but it's going through us now. That's the only difference.
We typically receive about $1 million from the fire protection district in mid-November. So that's usually what I bank on. And so that's what I'm missing at this point. And then the balance, 3 million or up to 4 million comes mid-December. So I'm almost at the point where I would have been receiving that now. And I haven't yet received it, but it's my understanding that it's coming.
Right.
Okay, so if I had another related question. Okay, so it sounds like we should be fine in terms of expected payments now that we've got the invoicing and everything figured out and communicated. Is that fair to say?
It is if we receive a check within 2 weeks.
Okay, and would that within 2 weeks be consistent with the invoicing due in 30 days when the invoice was provided?
I believe so. I believe the invoice
I have the invoice here and it was November 18th.
18th, so.
Okay, so assuming on the fire protection district side, we're holding up our end of the bargain, you should get that. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're on top of whatever future invoices so we don't have issues and
Correct.
things get.
Now we understand
Okay.
how it's wanted, and so we're prepared to provide them.
Okay, great. My second related question is, to date, Chief, has there been, based on the budget that we approved, sounds like we had to dip into the TRAN loan to cover cash flow.
Right.
But to Chuck's point, we've done that before, which is why we have that. But has there been any impact on service levels, employment, any of that kind of stuff today?
No.
Okay. Are you anticipating at this point any imminent changes to staffing levels, service levels, anything like that?
It's all dependent upon what we agree to as a budget, but as for now, my plan is to maintain what we have.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Any public comment? No? Nobody waving? All right. Any other discussion? All right. No? Roll call, please.
Can you first read the motion so we understand what's going on?
There's let's see, proposed to amend the budget 2025-2026. That it reflects 12.2 million, 6.1 million will be charged to both parties.
Can I just ask one more question? What would the cuts be? That's what I don't understand. So you're proposing that we cut the budget by, I don't know the amount, but what are the cuts? What are you proposing?
Proposing the same cuts you at the city had to
But
be.
that's not, but we have, that's an amount of money. What in the budget are you proposing that we cut? What am I voting on?
The
Yeah,
budget
because to
of
be honest with you, I
12.2.
thought there'd be
But-
six
but-
questions.
But we have a
What we
budget
take
that
in.
already has amounts allocated for all of these different things, and what I'm trying to understand is, what are we cutting?
What line items are being
Yes.
cut out?
We
What
won't
is the
know it yet.
proposal?
The total would be 12.2.
Right. I think what Perry's getting at is what I thought that potentially there would be some ideas
What is
To
that
go
budget?
with it.
Like, you have an amount, but what are,
That's the amount. Then it would go to the fire chief. He'd have to make up what budget he can, what he has money. This is how much he has to work with.
Yeah, but it's based on our priorities. It's not based solely on the chief. So what would be the priorities of this board if we cut 1.6 million or whatever the amount is out of this fiscal year
What is our
budget?
direction to him?
Because
I
we
mean,
don't
we
wanna
spent
cut
3
manpower.
hours plus sort of proposing a myriad of different options when we approved the budget. And now you want us to reopen the budget. And my question is,
What was the proposal at the city meeting? When you were talking about cutting?
we didn't cut anything.
So if I could, Candy, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the answer is there is no proposal on the table how to address that. And if I understood what Bob said, his suggestion would be we put it on the chief to deal with it and come up with suggestions on how we would deal with the shortfall. I'll add my own comment is that I agree with others that for me, it's premature to do that because we still are waiting for at least one, if not two, studies to come back so that we can understand where we're at. We can't be too slow, but we do have some time to figure this stuff out. And on the city side, we haven't cut any funding to date. So that's where I land is I think it's a little early.
Thank you. I just wanted that clarification. I wanted to better understand what we were voting on.
I saw that Chief Parham had his hand up.
I'm Citizen Parham,
Oh, okay.
property owner Parham. I only have a question because I think some people in the room don't really know exactly what the fire protection district voted on and really the intent and meant. So we're all kind of, I think for some of us are back here, what was that vote? What was the intent purpose? Because that leaves a lot of content out on what you guys are even talking about. So, I mean, though I have watched it, I mean, I know some people are sitting here going, what did you vote on? Why? What was the purpose of that? What was the intent? So that would really probably bring to light why we're even talking about this and why Director Rowe is bringing that up, because it definitely is shocking, obviously, probably to people in the audience in the back too. So, just my comment.
Thank you.
Without getting off subject too much, it was just basically what happens every single year. The fire district adopts a budget, and the budget is a number of cash, but the allocation is the 50%, and based upon the invoices that are coming in. So
I think that's the trigger of the comments in here. It's if you do a reduction or you do a modification of whatever, however the wording is, again, not knowing and hearing it. I don't want to put words in your guys' mouth, but knowing the intent of what we're doing with it. Because again, as a property owner, I would love to know where the money, if it's not going to come to the authority, if by chance there is, I'm not saying you are. If I'm paying that, I want to know where my dollars are going. So, because my dollar's either gonna go to them or you somewhere, or it needs to come back to me because I already pay enough tax. So if you're not gonna use it, I want it. So that would be my intent, and I believe a lot of taxpayers.
Come to our meeting tomorrow night, and we can really address that.
Okay, and that's again, I wish I would have, I'd love to save that for that meeting too.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
we're basically having a
Yeah, and again.
discussion.
And it was mostly just trying to figure out what that is. That's that content piece about trying to understand what you guys are talking about.
Okay. All right, so. Yep. We have roll call, please.
Sure. Director Joe Rowe,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Director Walsh,
Aye.
Director Ziegler, Director Herrick,
No.
Director Hicks,
No.
Director Melnick,
No.
Director Putz,
No?
Director, Vice Chair Bob Rowe,
Aye.
and Board Chair Segovia.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, moving on to FA7 board reorganization. I do know that we rotate back and forth between the CSD and the city of Big Bear Lake. So I guess right now we'll talk about selection of the chair.
We are entertaining nominations.
Yes.
I nominate Joe Kay.
I'll second. Oh, you did.
Okay, so did you get that, the first and the second?
We have Director Walsh.
Aye.
Oh,
You said that.
sorry. I was repeating, he
I'm
made the
triggered.
motion. Director Walsh made the motion and Director Russo made the second.
Okay, I just want to make sure you got, that you got who, okay, so could we have roll call, please?
Vice Chair Bob Rowe,
Aye.
Director Jay Rowe,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Director Walsh,
Aye.
Director Ziegler, Director Herrick,
Aye.
Director Hicks,
Aye.
Director Melnick,
Aye.
Director Putz,
Aye.
and Chair Segovia.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to, or am I supposed to switch now?
We switch now.
Oh, okay.
Don't even let the seat get cold. Jeez.
Well, you gotta be, who's gonna be last?
I left that paper there for you.
Your phone.
That's okay, but no, there's a paper there for you to read.
Oh, this one?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, now we move on to vice chair, which would be, Lakes side. Any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Candy Segovia.
I'll second.
Okay.
Read the paper.
Ready for roll call?
Yeah.
Director
Might wanna see if there's
Putz,
anybody else that
Oh.
wants.
Any?
okay, we have Director Putz.
We're voting now.
Yes.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bob Rowe,
Aye.
Chair Joe Rowe,
Aye.
Director Russo,
Aye.
Director Walsh,
Aye.
Director Ziegler, Director Herrick,
Aye.
Director Hicks,
Aye.
Director Melnick,
Aye.
Director Segovia.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Musical chairs again.
You moved too quick. Oh, he's right there.
Oh, he's coming back.
Yeah.
Coming back. Okay,
That's quick.
now we're going into closed session. Any member of the public is entitled to speak on a closed session agenda item. If you wish to address any other items listed on the agenda, you must do so during open session. Okay, closed session would be public employment, title, board secretary. 2, conference with labor negotiators, government code 54957.6, agency designated representatives, Luke Wagner, fire chief, and unprecedented employee board secretary. 3, conference with labor negotiators, government code 54957.6, agency designated representative, Luke Wagner, fire chief, employee organization, Big Bear Fire Professional Firefighters Association, IAFF Local 935. 4, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to government code section 54956.9 D2. 1 potential case. We will move to closed session.